Hello, how are you all? I'm Amy Baldwin, and you are in my online class this summer. I am going to do a series of short videos to kind of get you prepared for the other assignments that we have, especially the test that's coming up, because I want you to do really well on it. So I'm going to try to make this short, but kind of give you some good information in the process. So I'm going to just focus on the case scenarios and what I am looking for whenever you are doing those. So I will give you some feedback on your assignments. The goal is to kind of start working and improving on them, because you will see some more comprehensive ones on the midterm. So let's just start really quickly. I want to keep it short. Okay, so basic considerations, whether you're turning this in an assignment or whether you are posting this on the discussion board, I'm going to kind of push you, challenge you to show me in your answer what you've learned from the ACAD 1300 content. Now, I know several of you have at least a year under your belt. You probably have some personal information. You're welcome to share that in your response. But because I'm teaching a course and I'm giving you content, I'm going to assess you on what you're learning from the content as well. So be sure that you're cognizant of that. And then I want you to apply specific strategies. Some of you, I put in the comments, okay, well, what would Nathan then do? It's great that Nathan needs to know he needs to manage his time, and it's very important, and it's very different from high school, but you haven't told me what Nathan needs to do, for example. So be thinking about those things, and I'm going to walk through the case scenarios in just a minute. Also, again, specific strategies from the chapter or chapters that you are being connected with. So if it says chapter 1 or chapter 1 and chapter 3, you're going to want to pull your information and what you know from those. And then don't forget to say, why will your advice be helpful? What would the implications of doing those new strategies be? Okay, so let's look at chapter 1 in particular. Again, I've graded these, I've given you feedback, please look at them. And I'm going to challenge you to write more than just a sentence or two, okay? Because there's a lot of things you can do. So first of all, Becky, scenario 1, Becky attends class every day. She never misses. Great, Becky, that's fantastic. She doesn't prepare or bring anything with her. She's lost her syllabus. Not even sure what the professor will be covering each day. So this ties specifically to some of the content on hidden curriculum that is in chapter 1. So I would have loved to have seen you address that or mention it about what you need to be doing before class and during class. And then also it's about if those expectations in terms of what you need to be doing and what maybe your high school teacher did versus your college professor. So that's where some of this content can come from and some of the strategies. So some of you said she needs to prepare by bringing things in her backpack. Great. But can you also tell me what she needs to do in terms of once she gets that syllabus, which I would encourage her to ask her professor or ask a classmate. Always go to the source immediately. And then look at the syllabus and determine what they're covering each day. And then she needs to read ahead. She needs to take notes. She needs to come to class ready to take notes. And she also needs to, after class, review those notes, get clarification. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm really giving Becky a lot of good advice that's tied to chapter 1. And the reason that this would be helpful is it's not just about attending, it's about doing all of those things outside of class, because most of the work that you're going to do in college is outside of class. It's not just about in class. Okay, so that's a more robust answer for chapter 1. I'm sorry, for case scenario 1. And that's what I'm going to be looking for moving forward. So let's look at Nathan really quickly. Nathan's taking college algebra, gets a friend to help him on his online homework. Chances are this is not unusual, right? We know students that do this. He's doing really well on his homework, possibly because he's getting his friend to help. He makes a failing grade on the first test. Now, we can't really tell from this if Nathan is getting too much help, like his friends doing the work for him, but it's obvious there's a disconnect. So a lot of you focused on, he just needs to do it himself. Well, yes, that's a good first step, but it's obvious that that's not a comfort zone for him. And so there may be some better strategies for him that would be more helpful. Going to his professor during office hours, going to tutoring, starting a study group. So it's more than one person perhaps helping each other. So those kinds of things are really important. Talking to the professor about, hey, there's a disconnect here. I don't know if I have test anxiety. I don't know what's going on. Nobody suggested this, but this could be another piece of it, especially when you're looking at those adjustments to college. Disability Resource Center might be something that he might want to stop by and talk to somebody about. Perhaps there's some undiagnosed disability. So all of those things are touching on or tying to that content in Chapter 1. And definitely that would be helpful to him. And some of you explained this, you just didn't give the specific strategy. It would be helpful to him to figure out what is going on and why there's a disconnect so that he can do things better and with more confidence later. Nobody that I remember did number 3, so I'm going to talk through that very quickly as well. Carl has not purchased his books yet, and it's the 4th week of the term. He doesn't have enough money to buy them, and the bookstore is out of them. So what could he do? I noticed one of you on your 6 adjustments noticed that there's a student support center with resources that's in the student health center that is about financial emergencies. And so he definitely could look into those services that give grants, little mini grants for buying textbooks or other things that are urgent. He can talk to his professor, again, see the thread there, talk to his professor about getting access to a book. Maybe the professor can copy a chapter or 2, at least initially. And then if you're not aware of this, the college library at UCA has books on reserve that are required text for classes. You cannot check them out of the library, but you can go get them, use them in the library for a couple of hours, and then return them. So those are all measures by which Carl could get access to the content so he doesn't get behind in that. So I'm going to stop here because I promised this would be short, and I'm going to do another video just on Chapter 3.